Welcome back. Now we're going to start to dig deep, and I really want you to get out a piece of paper and a pen right now. Pause this audio or DVD program, whatever you're watching at the moment. Pause it and go get yourself a pen and a piece of paper right now. Welcome back. Hopefully you've done what I've asked you to do, having a notepad and pen ready to start your transformation. We're going to start to look at beliefs. This area is a significant area in our lives and how we face the world. A lot of us have limiting beliefs and limiting decisions that sort of are like barriers that stand in the way of what we're trying to achieve. So let's take a look at some of these beliefs that we have and how we can begin to transform them. I don't remember if you, as a child, especially I remember now as I think about it, when I was a child I was afraid of the dark. Were you ever afraid of the dark? You know, just before going to bed, knowing that, dreading that when the light goes out that there's going to be monsters in the room, or maybe monsters at the window, which is really only shaking trees, the trees and the images of the tree with the moonlight on the tree causing images, or that the conjuring up images in our mind that there's a monster under our bed. Do you ever remember doing that as a child? I can remember it now, especially now that I have a child who's starting to go through that in her life right now. Was it real? It was a belief that we created, a fear that we created in our mind. And we deleted and distorted and generalized that information and created monsters under the bed or monsters outside the window. And that's where those beliefs come from. A significant emotional event that happens, like a loud crash or something happens that we create meaning or place meaning to, and we put meaning over the top. Means dark, means monsters, means scary, means I don't like bedtime, or whatever it is. And Monsters Inc., which is a movie that you may or may not have seen, which goes into the details about having monsters inside your cupboard, and you know, the whole monster community, their electricity and the power that runs their world is sourced by children's screams. And they've got to make them scared. But then it's through a whole heap of events that change, they begin to realize that it's through happiness and joy and laughter that brings out the energy that quadruples the amount of energy created than that of fear. So happiness and joy has a greater effect than fear and sadness and negativity. It has a significant change on our state. We're talking about the three elements of success, which is results are created from our behavior, and our behavior is state dependent. So these three elements of success are everywhere in our life. And as we look at our beliefs and we think about what things are we allowing to stand in our way of achieving what we want in our life right now, what would you say if you could actually change your beliefs? Because it is possible. See, beliefs are created. So we have these periods in our life, that 0 to 7 is like our imprint stage, where we're total unconscious mind, where the information is downloaded through the 5 senses into our lives, where we delete, distort and generalize that information and create the layers of what our brain thinks or creates meaning for. And so that's all that information coming in that imprint stage. So everything, what we hear, what we see, what we taste, what we smell, you know, everything is there, and what we visualize and what we feel, all these things create who we are at that stage, and it creates those foundations of who we are as kids. And we can also take on the beliefs of those of our parents. Do you remember a time saying, "Oh, I've never been a good speller," or I've never been any good at school, or I just, you know, I don't find reading easy, or I don't, I forget names all the times. Do you ever remember, or can you recall a time when you thought that way? You may think that way now. You say, yeah, that's me. And when you have kids and then they start going to school and you think, oh, you go back to that time when you were in maths or when you were in science or when you were doing exams and you think, oh, I wasn't very good, and that belief system is then placed on your child, and then they take ownership of that, and then they say, well, oh, my parents weren't any good at this, so I mustn't be any good at this, and so that forms their belief, and then they are limiting their potential to achieve so much more. See, it's been proven scientifically that our brain is like a muscle. So if you work out in the gym and you work that muscle, it gets stronger and has the ability to achieve so much more strength and ability, and your body gets more toned and more better looking, and you feel better. Same with our brain. When we start to build that muscle and start to think and work things out and encourage our brain, our neurological pathways to fire off in new and exciting ways, we can actually build and increase our intelligence. We're not saying we're going to be the genius of someone who's gone before, like Einstein, and become exactly like them, but we can certainly learn from what they have discovered. Yeah, and we can go along that path and learn from them and stand on the shoulders, as Isaac Newton said, stand on the shoulders of those that have gone before us and see into the future of what we can actually have in our life.